Welcome, beautiful people from all over the world. You are now tuned into the greatest reaction channel in the freaking galaxy. And today I'm going to be reacting to Boz Scaggs. Now, I did a reaction fairly recently with my boy Paper Chase, and you know, I absolutely loved it. So the song Lowdown by Boz Scaggs, absolute banger. But I was like, thinking about it, and I'm like, I really don't know much more of his music. So I was reading through the comments, and so many of you said you've got to do Lido Shuffle next. Now, one of the things that I found out while I was doing the reaction, because I was like, yo, this is, I mean, the instrumentation on that song was so incredible. And you put in the comments, you let me know that Jeff Porcaro from Toto, one of the greatest drummers of all time, was playing drums on that track. And so as a matter of fact, it looks like he's also playing drums on this track with a couple of the other members that went on to create Toto, being, was it David Pack and David, is it Huntsman or Huntington? Look, I learned from reading your comments, so if I get it wrong, I apologize. But I'm so hyped to listen to this track because with that group of people all together recording one song, I know it's going to be incredible. So without further ado, let me bring this up. Somehow I lost the screen. Here we go. That's right. Boz Scaggs, Lido Shuffle, first time listen. Let's go. Hey, hold up. I think I jumped ahead just a second. I don't want to miss a second of this song.
Lido missed the boat that day. He left the shack, but that was all he missed, and he ain't coming back. At a tombstone bar in a juke joint car, he made a stop, just long enough to grab a handle off the top. Next stop, Chi-Town. Lido put the money down and let him roll. He said, one more job ought to get it, one last shot before we quit it, one for the road, Lido. Whoa, he's for the money, he's for the show. Lido's waiting for the Lido. Whoa, he said, one more job ought to get it, one last shot before we quit it, one more for the road.
What an absolute banger. Like, I didn't know it was leading up to that chorus. I was grooving to it before. Like, it was just like, the beat, the drumming, everything was just so smooth, but I really didn't expect that chorus to come in. And hey, man, I'm just going to be real with you. Lido sounds like my type of guy. It sounds like he's out there living that fast life, just rolling the dice, just taking risks and, enjoying life. Hey, man, it's a man after my own heart. I'm definitely going to be hyped to let Paper Chase listen to this, because this sounds like, kind of a gambler's theme song. He's rolling the dice, and I'm not a gambling man. You know what I mean? I'm not a big Vegas guy. Chase loves to gamble. That's not necessarily my thing, but I appreciate the lifestyle, man. I like, I'm that type of guy that, might have lived a little bit of the fast life myself, if you know what I mean. So I definitely identify with my man Lido here. So let's go. Let's dive back in.
Lido be running, having great big fun until he got the note saying toe the line or blow, and that was all she wrote. He be making like a feline, heading for the borderline, going for broke, saying one more hit ought to do it. This joint
Yeah, man, this is a banger for sure. I just wanted to hit it with another little pause. I know we're about to ride this one out, but I just, I love the little storyline in there. It sounds like, he might have got himself in a little bit of a scrape, got to run for the border, but that's what you get when you're living that fast life, man. When you're living on the edge, live pushing it to the limits. I mean, hey, man, like I said, Lido's a man after my own heart. So let me just dive in and just ride this out.
Lido, whoa. He's for the money, he's for the show. Lead all the way, oh, no, Lido. Whoa.
Absolute banger. That's another one that can go on the playlist. I mean, similar to Lowdown in the sense that I just feel like it's just got that like upbeat vibe that you can just kind of groove to, you can kind of dance to. I like the storyline of Lido, that character that's kind of just like living the fast life, gambling, doing the thing, hey, I identify with that type of character, like I said. So you got to love it. This is interesting because what I've really been enjoying about doing these reactions is that, a lot of this music I have somewhat of a familiarity with. Like, for instance, I know this is a little off track because this is a Boz Scaggs reaction, and my man Boz absolutely killed it on this. Once again, like I said, I knew that one song. I don't even know how I came across it. I think it's just like one of those things, Lowdown, that I heard and I was like, oh, what is this? Maybe I Shazammed it because I was, hearing it somewhere and it was an absolute banger. So I threw it in the playlist. And sometimes I'll go through and I'm like, hey, what else did this artist do? But then a lot of times, I'll just kind of like save the one song and just move on, you're in the middle of doing something. That's probably what I did with Boz Scaggs, because this isn't music that I grew up listening to. Like, I don't remember necessarily hearing this on the radio. It's not music that like my dad or my mom listened to. So I probably heard it in passing, maybe working on construction sites or something, or just on the radio, when I'm, rolling with my parents or something. They're scrolling through the channels back in the day, but it's not something I was super familiar with. So, it's great. It's great to like find new music from older artists that I just missed out on. And, this is kind of a long-winded, outro, but what I was getting at is, I know this is a Boz Scaggs reaction. He absolutely killed it. I had no idea that, the members that would go on to play in Toto were playing the company. I just knew that the drum line on Lowdown was incredible. Drum line on this is incredible. And then come to find out there's a reason for that. It's Jeff Porcaro. And so I know that mainly from you leaving comments, and I really appreciate that. That's one of the fun, the funnest things about doing these reactions, and what I really enjoy is just learning more about the artists, the music, the creative process. We had done a reaction to Toto a while back, and I was reading through the comments, of a previous reaction, and somebody put in there, oh yeah, these guys were session, musicians. They played for all these other bands that were kind of like the heavy hitters. Like, hey, we need to record like a banger. We need to record like a hit song. We need the professionals. And they got called in. And I didn't realize that this is one of the artists that they had, played on accompanying, instrumentation until I read through the comments. So that's just, super fascinating to me. It just makes sense when you have such like a classic, sound, classic song that just, it's just such a groove that you would have, people playing that are at that level, just professionals that are at the utmost like pinnacle to like, put some of these, classics together. So I'm loving this journey, and I'm loving the interaction that I have with you, reading through the comments, seeing, some of the history. And I also like to just know like some of the stories. I was reading through the comments on Lowdown and people were just saying, hey, I was, a teenager when this came out, like this, this album was incredible. I put it on and just like listened to the whole thing. That's just so awesome to hear from you and hear your stories and how you relate to a lot of these songs and the music. So keep it coming. That's one of the things that I enjoy, the most about doing this is just, music's very personal to me. It's been a big part of my life. And I think about certain times in my life and, what music I was listening to. And I think it says something about, your growth as a person too, or where you're at in life. Like there's been certain stages of life where it's like, I only listen to a certain type of music, or, I was going through a breakup, so I started listening to this, or this person came into my life and introduced me to this new type of music that, I had never listened to, or an artist I'd never heard of. And it's like these little periods of life that tie in together. So that's how I relate to music. I don't know if you're the same way. That's how it hits me. It's like periods of my life, little time frames, little, slices of my life. And, I'm on this new musical journey, listening to a bunch of music that I, had never heard before or have only, briefly interacted with on a very surface level. And so in one hand, it's like, oh yeah, I kind of know that song, but do I really know it? And I'm finding there's a lot of music that I thought I knew that I really didn't know. It went over my head either because I was too young or it just wasn't my thing at the time. So I never gave it an honest listen. But here I am today with open ears, an open mind, an open heart, going on this journey with you. So thank you for joining me. And if you have any recommendations, let me know. I got the recommendation for this song from you from reading the comments. There multiple people said, hey, you got to do you got to do Lido Shuffle next. They also said, I think it was JoJo. So we're gonna we'll throw it on the list. I'll definitely put this in front of Paper Chase because, like I said, he's gonna love it too. Probably let my son listen to it at some point if I can get him back in here. So, anyways, thank you for joining me. Have a beautiful evening, and I will see you. Well, I don't know what time it is when you're watching this. Have a beautiful moment in time, whenever it is that you see this reaction. Thank you for joining me. I will see you on the next one. Peace.